According to Webster's Online Dictionary, learning is the acquisition of knowledge by instruction, reading, study, experience, observation, and skill. Throughout time, people have tried to understand and explain how learning takes place, with the goal of producing more learning and increasing information transfer. Thus, learning theories developed. Learning theories are sophisticated hypotheses that describe how someone learns. Edutainment is learning through play and is founded on learning theories. This presentation will describe the motivation, constructivist, and situated learning theories and explain how they apply to edutainment. Nate is going to start us off with motivation theory.
Thanks, Jennifer. What we have with motivational theory from Keller states that for us to have motivational, you have to have motivated students. Their curiosity must be aroused and sustained. There are other conditions that need to be met, but to me, this is the greatest condition that has to be there. If the students can see relevance to what they are doing to something in their life or to fill a need that they have at this moment, then they should be motivated to learn. Once they have this desire to learn, they should be able to receive some form of satisfaction after that motivated learning moment is completed in whatever form. There are a lot of different learning theories out there, but I believe that a main underlying one that relates to everything is the motivational theory. I broke down the 4 motivational principles from Keller into the best sides of the drawing as I thought they'd see fit. Some of them are, curiosity must be maintained. Now, in my math class, there are a lot of students who don't like math. Math is just something that they just do not understand. And so when I'm looking for problems for them, I'm trying to find a chemistry problem for students, or a soccer problem, basketball, weather, art, or anything else that relates to them. And you even get the popular, when am I ever going to use this question from the students? And I love it when the students do this, because I ask them what they really want to do with their life, and I show them that math is everywhere. I mean, I keep telling them math is everywhere, and being able to show them that with the problems and with situations in their life hopefully will help them motivate them to do better in my class. There's also personal conviction that they need to have, otherwise they will not succeed. This is kind of more of a challenge at the high school level, since a lot of these kids at this age are being told by a lot of sources in their life things they cannot do. You can't do this, you can't do that. But a lot of students at the high school age think they know everything because they think they do. We as adults have to keep them safe, and we know there's still a lot more to learn about life. If a student has some experience with a passion or sport or a school subject or topic that they really like, then they are probably more likely to have the internal belief that even when times get tough, they can keep going and persevere, and that will help them with the personal conviction. Another feature from Keller's motivational theory was that the instruction must be relevant. And I've already touched on this a little bit earlier with the fact that instruction has to be relevant to the learner. The fact that we have all this technology available with laptops and iPads and mobile devices greatly helps the students stay motivated. And it's part of our job as an educator to be aware of these technologies and new ones that are coming out and find ways to creatively engage the students with them. Now, the last part of the Keller's theory for motivation is consequences of learning must be consistent with the personal incentives. With much of high school, we are trying to create students who are ready to work out in the world. And because of that, having the assignments be done on a deadline and have consequences. You don't get it done on time, you don't get the full credit. And some of the kids were, oh, why can't I have this? I want my points. I got it turned in. And you have to use an example of work. If you show up 2 minutes late a couple times in a row, you're going to be fired. And with the economy being as awesome as it is, you have to be aware that your decisions have consequences, both good and bad. Again, motivational theory, if you focus on these 4, and if they're not met extrinsically and intrinsically from the learner, then it's going to be really hard for any student to be successful with any theory that we're going to be talking about today. So, with that in mind, I am now going to throw it back to Jennifer as she talks about constructivism.
Thanks, Nate. The constructivist learning theory states that knowledge is created by the learner and not acquired from an external source. A teacher doesn't give knowledge. Rather, the learner receives new information, uses his prior experiences, and prior knowledge to interpret the new information, and then stores the information for future retrieval. It is in this way that the learner is actively involved in his own learning, and any knowledge that the learner gains takes on personal meaning. Constructivist learning theory can be applied in any classroom and with any subject area. Using the constructivist principles, the teacher provides relevant, motivating activities, like Nate was talking about, that guide the students to discovery. In a constructivist classroom, the teacher presents students with tasks and resources that support diverse interpretations of a problem situation. As the students progress through the given task, the goal is to move the focus away from the teacher as a source of information and put it onto the students to develop their own ideas and connect them to prior learning. This way, the students can test their current way of thinking, look at a problem from different perspectives, and then share their new information with other students in order to test and revise their own thinking. Participating in these tasks, learners become proficient with the content, and they help construct a deeper understanding with the goals of the activity. Edutainment is constructivism in practice. In both constructivism and edutainment, the learner is required to act and do in order to learn. In well-designed edutainment, students are actively engaged in relevant, engaging tasks wherein they create their own understanding. Well-designed edutainment activities encourage student choice, appeal to the students' interests, the things that motivate them, and connect to real-world experiences. Jeegers and Weiberg studied edutainment products, and they reported that active interaction with edutainment can increase the attention span for learners and have positive effects such as customization of pace and learning style to suit the individual learner's needs. I experienced this in my own classroom when in one of my classes with one of my below benchmark classes, we were discussing how come you divide a fraction by another fraction and you end up getting a larger number. The example problem was 1/3 divided by 1/4, which gives the answer of 1 1/3. And we were trying to decide how that was possible. And it was great that I could give these kids a whole bunch of resources. I gave them peer groups, some private think time, I gave them the internet, I gave them fraction strips. And from that, they were able to come up with how come you do get that larger number. It was motivating, and it was knowledge that they gained. They gained a greater understanding of what division means as a math concept. In his article, That's Edutainment by Randy White, he says that children are biologically wired to play. It is nature's way of programming them with a pleasurable activity that teaches them about the world around them and how to become part of society. Play is child's work. Through their work, children create new understandings and see new ways to apply the knowledge in their lives. And that is what constructivism is. And I've heard that a social constructivism is situated learning. And that takes us to Lynette.
Thank you, Jennifer. Jan Harrington and Ron Oliver define situated learning as the notion of learning knowledge and skills in contexts that reflect the way knowledge will be useful in real life. Apprenticeships are a great example of situated learning. As early as the Middle Ages, a person wishing to acquire skill could receive training under a master craftsman. The apprentice would see firsthand the techniques of the craft and would demonstrate their mastery of these techniques under the supervision of that master craftsman. In situated learning, the learner is at the center of the instructional process. So in situated learning, it involves the integration of 4 elements: content, context, community, and participation. Situated learning emphasizes higher order thinking processes rather than the acquisition of facts independent of the real lives of the participants. Learners are able to apply the content rather than working at just trying to retain the content. In situated learning, context refers to the building an instructional environment that is sensitive to the tasks learners must complete to be successful in practice. The third element, community, allows learners to interpret, reflect, and form meanings through social interaction and the engagement in dialogue with others. And lastly, participation involves the exchange of ideas, attempts at problem solving, and active engagement of learners with others and with the materials of instruction. In classrooms, it is said all too often that the content presented is disconnected from its real-world context. This, in turn, can have a negative impact on the learning process and result in poor student motivation. However, through the use of virtual and augmented reality technologies, situated learning environments can occur in the classroom. Here's some examples. Chris Deede's research team has created a multi-user virtual environment called River City. River City teaches middle school grade students hypothesis formation and experimental design skills while being immersed in a 19th century city where residents are falling ill due to some sort of health ailment. Teams of 3 or 4 collaborate and try and figure out why people are getting sick and what actions can be taken to remove the sources of illness. While immersed in River City, students talk to computer-based residents who have fallen ill or residents who work as hospital employees, merchants, or university scientists. Another example of Deede's team is Alien Contact, an augmented reality in which students using handheld computers with GPS technologies are directed to nearby locations to interview virtual characters and inspect digital items related to a mysterious alien invasion. As in River City, students work in groups, and each student in the group is assigned a unique role. Assembling the pieces of the puzzle requires not just factual knowledge, but also effective communication and collaboration. The focus of Alien Contact is to teach math and literacy skills to middle and high school students. Deede's research suggests that students gain substantially more knowledge through this immersive technology than through conventional instruction of equivalent learning experiences that might be delivered via a board game. With River City, Deede's team found that academically low-performing students do as well as their higher-performing peers. These findings suggest that engagement is the key to success.
Thank you very much, Lynette. Now, for Nate Cannon, Jennifer Marrott, and Lynette McDougal, I would like to thank you all very much for listening to our EdTech 597 Edutainment Podcast today on motivational theory, constructivist learning theory, and situated learning theory. We hope you enjoyed it and that you all have a great day, and please download safely.